Many viewers of this channel will know that my wife and I are avid mountain bikers. We travel around the globe looking for the best places to ride our bikes, and we share those experiences on our YouTube channels. But many of you won't know much about the van we travel in or how we even built it. So the goal of this video is to show you exactly how we built it, why we built it, along with a tour of the final product. But first, we need a little background to help set this story up. In 2014, I traveled to New Zealand. I bought a cheap camper van and drove solo across the country to hit every mountain bike hotspot I could find. Meanwhile, my future wife Yuka had been traveling and working across Australia and New Zealand for 3 years. Our paths crossed on a hiking trail called the Milford Track. As we hiked the trail, we would meet up at the next hut where we could sleep for the night. And every night, I would see Yuka at these huts. We got to know each other fairly well over these 4 days, and by the end of the hike, I had convinced her to travel with me in my van for the rest of my trip in New Zealand. By the end of the trip, she decided to come back to Canada with me, where I had a desk job waiting for me. But both Yuka and I had become used to travel and the freedom that came with it. We were getting the itch, and it was time to make a change.
But Nate's video was right in the sweet spot.
I had seen other mountain bikers making a living on YouTube and thought, hey, I can do that. So I uploaded my first video and waited for the subscribers to roll in. And well, they did, slowly. The experience was a rude awakening. YouTube was not easy. But I persevered, made better videos, and eventually got to the point where I could make a modest living from YouTube and my supporters on Patreon. And with a desire to return to that travel lifestyle, it was time to pull the trigger. We were going to buy a van and convert it into a home on wheels. Only much bigger than that one I had in New Zealand. And after much ado, we finally purchased our van, a 2017 Ford Transit in silver. But I was still working my day job and producing YouTube videos. How would I find the time to convert this metal box into a home for the two of us? Well, it was difficult. During the evenings, we were able to install a pair of fans on the roof, we added insulation to the whole thing, and installed a floor. But it was slow going. You see, with my desire to get everything right the first time, I spent hours researching before committing to something. With hundreds of how-tos online, many of questionable quality, it was hard to know the best way to do something at a reasonable price. But over time, I began to trust a few resources, one of which was FarOutRide.com. They're mountain bikers too, and they explained how they built their van in detail, complete with links to purchase all the required parts. So, with our newfound confidence, we forged on, installing a slide-out bike tray, a bed platform, counters, and a sink.
Oh yeah.
Eventually we got to the point where the van was livable. So in July of 2018, Yuka and I both quit our day jobs and moved into the van, along with all the extra crap we had from living in an apartment. But now I was a full-time YouTuber and we had the freedom to travel anywhere we liked. In the winter, we left Canada and made a beeline for Mexico. The next winter, we traveled all around North America in our partially finished van. We did occasionally spend time adding features on the road, but when we returned home this spring, our van was still incomplete. We decided enough was enough. We needed to finish the van, and we returned to our friend Ken Saito. He had built and installed these beautiful rounded window frames into our van when we first started the build. So pleased were we with him that we asked him to build a set of drawers and cupboards under our countertops, the last major feature our van needed. Finally, we could properly organize everything in the van. So now, after almost 2 years of van life, we can confidently say the van is done. Introducing Trazi. A play in the model named Transit, my now wife named him Tora Z after the Japanese word for tiger. Let's take a closer look. Starting out with the roof, we have two fans, one up front and one in the back. This way, one fan can suck and the other can blow, allowing for easy circulation of air within the van. Also on the roof are these flexible solar panels. With their low profile, they're less visible from street level, while also reducing wind drag compared to roof racks you might see in other camper vans. The power from these panels charges our Goal Zero stored inside. With 3,000 watt-hours of battery storage, this unit allows us to run our laptops, water pump, and lights. It also powers our energy-efficient refrigerator and freezer. Its top-loading design allows us to stack up our food while preventing cold air from spilling out. Since we have a lot of camera gear, we have a drawer specially designed for charging our batteries. We've also installed USB and AC outlets throughout the van. Both the driver and passenger seats double as office chairs, allowing us to each have a desk to work from. The passenger side desk is a little special though. We designed it to be collapsible in order to keep access to the sliding door. Under the passenger seat, we have a propane heater to keep the van warm on cold nights. For cooking, we have a 2-burner stove that runs off the propane tank stored just below. Next to the stove, we have a sink with running water. At the base of the bed, we've added a hatch for our laundry. When it's full, just open the hatch and pull the bag out. Our bed has a queen-sized mattress, and to the right, cabinets for all our clothing. Now below the bed is the garage, where we keep all our toys. Here, we store our mountain bikes on this slide-out tray for easy access. Being able to store our bikes inside was important to us, as it keeps them out of the weather and away from thieves. This is one of the main reasons we built out a van instead of just buying an RV, as most RVs aren't designed with bikes in mind. Just next to the bikes, we have our massive slide-out storage box. We built it in a hardware store parking lot over the course of a few days. It has 4 cubby holes down the side, and on top, storage for tires. And on the right, we have a big pocket for our camping and climbing gear. Up front, I have spots for my toolbox and other miscellaneous stuff. We also have a 45-gallon water storage capacity with these 2 tanks. And that's because we also have our propane-powered shower back here. When you live in a van, you quickly learn how much water you use. To take a shower, we just hang up our shower curtain between the doors for privacy. When showering, we use the military technique to save water. First, we use the shower to get wet, then we lather up to get clean, and then we use the shower once more to rinse off.
How was the shower?
Dun-dun.
Clean?
Really nice.
So after almost 2 years of living in a van, how are we doing? Well, it started out harder than it could have since it was incomplete. But over time, we learned what was important and we added features as we traveled to improve life on the road. I would say we're pretty adept at van life now. We know how to get water, which businesses have the best Wi-Fi, and how to avoid the dreaded 3 a.m. knock.
Open up!
Now, you may have noticed the distinct lack of toilet in the van, and that's intentional. And it's also the reason we left the space under the counters unfinished for so long. We spent a lot of time researching all types of toilets, but in the end, we decided against getting one. The hassle of maintaining a toilet was just too much. And while that may seem a little odd, there are free toilets everywhere. From mountain bike trailheads to gas stations, it's pretty easy to take your morning dump. On the other hand, showers aren't as easy to come by, which is why the shower at the back of the van has been essential, especially now that all the gyms and rec centers are closed. Now, earlier in the video, I said the van was finished. And with the installation of those drawers and cabinets, it certainly looks finished. But the van will always be a work in progress. There's always something to upgrade or a feature to add. In fact, I've got one more thing to add. But for now, we're going to call it finished. It's our home and we love it. But as always, thanks for watching and stay gnarly.